Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friends of the Force, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Brad.
And I'm your host, Sarah.
And this week on the show, we are joined by none other, the smoothest Star Wars fan around, Darth Mollie. Mollie, welcome.
Hi!
Yay! We finally have Mollie on the podcast.
Finally.
So excited to be here.
Long overdue guest appearance. I'm sorry it's taken this long, but you're here. And we are talking about The Bad Batch, the season premiere for the final season. How excited are you to have the Batchers back in your life?
So excited. This show means everything to me. It was there after I finished Rebels, I think like right before Celebration Anaheim. And it was my first watch through and I was crying. I was sobbing. I was sobbing at the end of it. And the only way that I was able to be consoled was to be told, hey, there's this other animated show that I know you may not like clones like you don't really care for clones, but there's this other show and you get to see Kanan as a child at the very beginning. And then I just fell in love. This is such a comfort show for me.
Yeah, I love that The Bad Batch was originally, I feel like when people heard it, they were a little hesitant about, are we going to be interested in like more clone stuff? And it just became one of those things that at its core is very soft and very heartwarming, which I feel like was The Mandalorian too. We thought it was going to be like this gritty bounty hunter thing. And I was like, oh, it's just Grogu. He's just so cute, you know? And I love when Star Wars becomes like stories about reluctant dads, you know, like that's the best. I love it. And it surprises you. But I know this is your first time on the show. For those of our listeners who aren't familiar, kind of like with you and like what you've done in the past and what you do currently, like, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and like your Star Wars journey, especially like with Star Wars animation? Because I know that's a huge thing for you that you're passionate about.
Yeah, I love animation. I have such a respect for it. I started drawing around the time I joined Star Wars, Twitter, specifically for Star Wars. Was I think in like January of 2019. And I started drawing because of all of the amazing fan art that I was seeing. And I just was wanting to create funny things that were in my head. And a lot of what I first drew was, I guess, things from like the animated shows. I also at the time was working at the Disney store, and I started, I think, towards the end-ish of Rebels or somewhere around there. Like I can barely remember it, but I couldn't watch it because I didn't have Disney XD. So I didn't get to experience it really. So after spending some time on Star Wars Twitter and everybody talking about how much they love it and how amazing it is, and also because I loved Resistance, RIP, like y'all know, I love Resistance so much. And I realized that I just needed to like jump more into like other shows because I didn't connect with the Clone Wars as much as I did with Resistance and Rebels. And it's probably partially the animation style, but I guess like I got a little sidetracked. So I guess what people know me for usually on Twitter is my horrible edits and my smooths.
The best edits ever and the best smooths ever.
I'm very loud on there, and I can be pretty opinionated, and I just really, really treasure and value this community. It has brought so much joy and like happiness for me. It got me through lockdown. I met some of the greatest people I'll ever meet, both of you included. And it's just really allowed me to connect as a fan, because in my actual day-to-day life, I don't have people who are this entrenched in any type of fandom really. And it's been hard to express myself. So I am just so grateful for it. And I love that with every project, there is always a group within the fandom who really latches onto it. So with Bad Batch, even if my other Star Wars friends are like, I'm only sticking to the films, it's just so nice to have people who love the animated shows and projects like Visions that I can geek out with. So
that's what I think is so great about Star Wars right now is everybody's like, you know what? There's so much goodness here. Not all of it has to be goodness for me. and that's cool too. And so I'm just gonna love really hard on the thing that I love the most, and be really passionate about it. And like that's the real way to, I think, have the most fun or enjoy anything, is because, you know, it's not worth spending your time and energy on things that you don't love as much. It's more fulfilling in every possible way to just spend time, you know, with the projects you love and with the people who also love those projects. And, you know, maybe if someone's not on board this train, we'll catch them on the next one. And I think that's what's great right now is I think everybody's really feels to me like we're all on a similar page about that these days.
I agree.
Growth.
I agree. And I like that we had a break, because with the Bad Batch coming back, it's really, what was the last, I guess, project on this like TV that we had for Star Wars? It's been a while. Oh yeah. Okay. So
yeah, which ended in like what, November or October or something, but like it feels animation wise, it's been a while.
Like it feels like it's been a very lengthy break. So, and this is, I've been dreading the third season coming because it's the last one, and I hate to say goodbye. It makes me so sad, but this is definitely the one that I think I have been more excited for Bad Batch than even Ahsoka. We just don't get enough Star Wars animation, and I just always want more. So this is really sad. This was kind of like my Rebels for the people that got to watch along while it was still coming out. That's what the Bad Batch has been for me. So
one last ride together with the Bad Batch, and then hopefully we'll get another announcement of something that's animated as well, so we can keep on this animation train. Because, you know, like here at Friends of the Forest, as Resistance fans, we are supporters of animation throughout, and I am saying that even though I haven't watched most of the Clone Wars, yes, I can tell the listeners are booing me from their homes and cars. It's okay, guys. I'll get there one day.
I'm not. I didn't finish it either. We were actually in the same boat, and I'm not used to other huge fans also not being on the same, like where everyone else was with Clone Wars. So every time there's a reference to it in anything, it goes over my head. So, and I keep saying I'm going to watch it. I just haven't yet, but I really need to.
It's like there's some things I've seen in it, and that some of the things I've seen in it I've really loved. But it feels like a project. I'm afraid of it.
Yeah, it's a long show. I mean, I was in it from the beginning, and even I can't remember half the stuff. Yeah, it's out of order. It was kind of on Netflix at one point. It was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
It was on Disney Plus. Like, it's been everywhere. It's had a long, arduous journey for Clone Wars watchers. But yeah, you make a great point, Molly, because I'm a little uncertain about the future of Star Wars animation at this point, which is a bit worrying. But I think at the same time, us as viewers should keep that in mind as we're watching this season of the Bad Batch, because you just never know in the day and age of live action remakes and like live action things just dominating everything. You never know when you're going to have a big animated hit, and we should just enjoy the Bad Batch while we're here, because we just don't know how long it's going to be until the next thing, like whether it's Visions season 3, or maybe they're going to announce a show on May the 4th after Bad Batch is done, and we're going to find out like what's next.
I hope
maybe a droid story will come out ever.
Maybe
whenever. Like, where is that show?
Wow, I'm really thinking about that one. Was that on like the big slate of things
Disney
that we're
Investor
gonna do?
Day 2020? I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, buddy.
I actually was looking at an image for it when I was looking on my phone for a Bad Batch meme. Somewhere buried in my photos, I typed in Bad Batch, and it pulled up that image with all of the shows, and I was like, no, where are the droids? I love droids.
Is the droid story in the room with us right now?
No.
Maybe. Molly, you should smooth the droid story logo. Maybe it will do something, you know? Yeah.
I'm not going to revert it back to how it's supposed to look until you give us what we're asking for. So I will smooth it.
Right.
It'll be glorified.
Cursed image until demands are met.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Oh, yeah, like with those Twitter accounts that are like, how many days until the Bad Batch trailer? It's just image gets bigger until droid story.
Just keep increasing the size.
Yeah,
I should do that.
Bigger and smoother.
I feel like y'all are always giving me extremely just so everyone knows, I have some very cursed like things because of both of you. Like both of you separately have given me suggestions for smooth or like just something very cursed. So, which is great because sometimes I do run out of ideas for a moment and then I'm alone with my like myself too long and I'm like, I just need a laugh. I mean, that's honestly why I do all of that though. It's just, we need a laugh.
Making memes are a form of therapy, like no joke.
Yes.
Sitting on your iPad and doing a silly little doodle, like you can't beat it. It's free therapy, honestly.
Yes.
All right. Well, look, somebody fund my new iPad so I can also silly little doodles.
I would. I mean, yeah, you need, or like we'll find you a knockoff one or something. Hey, Temu's booming.
Oh God. Mine is a decade old, so it does not really hold battery. And Brad is like, have you read this comic? And I'm like, I haven't turned on my iPad in 2 months.
No.
So he'll bully me later about it.
I will say, speaking of free therapy, what is not free therapy is the Bad Batch, because we paid $13.99 to watch these 3 episodes for a Disney Plus subscription.
Oh.
It's worth it for
it costs money, and we're suffering because of it. The Bad Batch, we're here. We're talking about
I have been using someone else's. I
don't have Disney's house.
We didn't hear.
Okay, well, we're engaged, so I think it's okay.
It's okay, guys. It's okay, guys.
We're good, Michael Mouse. It's fine.
Yeah, Michael. Like my 3-year subscription I signed up for as a cast member. I was like, I'm putting my paycheck right back into the company because I'm not receiving this for free. Just so everyone knows, as a cast member, we did not receive Disney Plus for free, even though people thought that. And I think now, like when you're hired, you can choose between a Disney Plus subscription or your main gate pass to go to the park. So,
oh my gosh,
those things they're not equal.
Why did I think you were going to say you can choose between Disney Plus or a salary? It's one or the other. Do you want to eat or do you want to watch?
Actually, I think that's how it works.
Yeah. That 3-year subscription, though, was a steal because they raised the prices at one point during that 3 years. And you were like sitting there chilling, no monthly payment. You're like, I'm vibing the Mandalorian and, Loki.
Oh, yeah. No. And I got a free Disney Plus hat and a Founders pin with it. So, I felt very, very good about my decision to put I would say the rest of my paychecks ever into that subscription, but it is like, it's expensive, but at least it's not Disney XD because I did consider having to get that at one point. So
rest in peace, Disney XD. You will always be remembered.
That's not true. I did not remember Disney XD until you said
you
Disney
watched
XD.
Resistance on it.
I mean, yeah, but like I'm remembering Resistance. Hey, hashtag.
True.
But I'm not remembering where
nice
I watched
plug.
Resistance.
Yeah, valid.
I'm thinking about Niku.
Was Resistance on Disney XD?
I think it was. Yeah, it was on Disney XD for at least the first. Yeah, it was on Disney XD the whole run. But then at one point it was at like 10 p.m. and then everybody forgot it was on Disney XD because it was on so late. So people would just watch it the next day.
Niku deserved better.
I mean, this is why I'm convinced the animated shows are not for kids, just because of like when they drop and the access to them. And I still think like last year with Bad Batch, especially, I was like, how is this can't be a kids show, right? Like it can't be. There's no way. Yeah. So it's probably going to be like that this season. I just have a very bad feeling.
I will say these first 3 episodes of the Bad Batch were pretty great. I had a really good time. I'm of the mind that like we are in the end game of the Bad Batch. We don't have time to waste. Omega is in the hands of the Empire. We don't have time to go do a fun little silly mission. We got to get going because she is out there and she needs our help as well as Crosshair. What did we think of these first 3 episodes? So what do we have here? We have Confined, Paths Unknown, and Shadows of Tantiss, which were the first was written by Jennifer Corbett, the last 2 Matt Miknovets, and Saul Ruiz, Nate Villanueva, and Stuart Lee all directed, which, I mean, those
are all names we recognize at this point.
All heavy hitters. Yeah, those are some Siege of Mandalore quality directors right there. Sarah, what did you think of the first 3 episodes? How are you feeling? And also spoiler alert for anybody who is listening. We were talking full spoilers. Everything is on the table for seasons 1 through
They
3. So
escape.
you've been warned. Yeah.
I just needed to say the spoiler. That's kind of how it goes after you give the spoiler warning directly after that. So
Fair.
sorry.
Yeah.
How did I feel about the first 3 episodes? I felt good about them. I feel like there is a clear focus, at least in this arc that we've gotten so far. I feel like everything was really well plotted. Omega is back, and boy, every time she comes on screen, I'm like, she is the best ever. I love her. I'm so glad she's in my life again, because right in the first episode when she's seeing Crosshair and Crosshair's like, don't worry about me, don't even try and save me, or like, she's just like, she's so determined and so hopeful and everything. And I love her so much. And so to just have her back, I forgot how much I missed her, in the interim. So I was really glad about that. I was excited to see that, this is really kind of following up at the end of where season 2 was, just picking right up from there, and kind of the what ifs of Crosshair and Omega, and how are they going to figure it out. And them getting out by episode 3 was really exciting. And yeah, Hemlock, he's terrifying. Palpatine right up front. Okay, buddy. Okay, bestie. Just kidding. We're enemies.
You do you, man.
But yeah, so I think this is really compelling so far, and I think the characters are complex and interesting, and so I feel really good about it, and I'm hopeful that the rest of the season will continue this momentum. I don't think they're going to give us a bad series finale, so I'm feeling good.
Dr. Hemlock keeps confusing me because he looks so much like Sam Witwer, but he is not voiced by Sam Witwer. He's voiced by Jimmy Simpson. It keeps throwing me off. I'm just like, that's Sam Witwer. But he is such a cool villain. I love him. I think he is like leaps and bounds more interesting than Rampart, because he just has this like mystique to him. We don't quite understand what his history is or where he came from, or like what is driving his motivation to try to be, what is it, the lead Imperial scientists of the science corps. Yeah, like he's kind of giving Krennic energy of like, I want to be in the good graces of the Emperor, and whatever it takes, I will do it. I just want to get credit for my work.
But it's not about like the bureaucracy for him. It's like he's just evil. You just don't like him because
he just
evil.
enjoys that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is interesting.
Makes him easy to hate in a good way as a villain.
Yeah. Mollie, what did you think of the first 3 episodes and what stood out to you in this arc?
I completely agree with what Sarah was saying. So my issue with season 2 was I felt very disconnected from it, especially in the earlier half of the season, because we were kind of all over the place. A lot of stories were being told, but I guess like the pacing was just very off for me. And I think this round, we didn't have like a barrage of new characters introduced. So A, I appreciate that. B, I like that we are, not that I want the focus to be off of the gang, but I like that it was so focused on Omega at first. And it really was, I felt like it just had a lot more of a, like, I don't know, like it's a heavier weight, but I just thought that the story being told, it just like the pacing was great. I thought that everything was flowing really easily, and even the second episode, I still like, I enjoyed all 3. I loved it. Like, I thought that this was such a great way to start the season. I mean, I definitely automatically have it above season 2, at least for me. And then sometimes I do have to like go back and go, I feel like I just missed something. And I only had to do that one time out of all 3 episodes. And it was only because Omega's hair changed. And I was like, what did I miss? What was the passage of time? Did she get taller? I genuinely thought she like must have gotten taller. And she definitely has a lot more. I mean, she's always had a lot of like spunk, I guess, but she had a lot. I mean, she's so sad and serious, and we do get that little glimpse of, the Omega we love. I mean, this is just another side of Omega. I love that they're exploring that. makes me so happy because I love a good, strong female character.
These episodes were so snappy. I think what you're speaking to is just the sense of urgency is there. Like, I feel like we have a very clear direction of what the show wants to be at this moment. And even with the second episode, when we are in a new place that's not Mount Tantiss, and we see Wrecker and Hunter, and they're talking about going to get the location of the medical base, I was kind of worried of like, oh, is this going to kind of derail into another side quest MacGuffin sort of thing?
Yeah.
But it surprised me in the best way possible, because then you introduce these clone cadets, one of whom is voiced by Daniel Logan, which was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved that. And them work together and then get them off this planet. I was like, okay, they found out a little bit more about where Omega might be, while also getting a peek maybe into a larger purpose that they could serve at the end of the series, which is like continue helping people, because I think that's something the characters have always struggled with, is their motivation and what their purpose is. And they've always based that around Omega, but now that Omega is out of the picture, I think their compass is a little bit just wobbly and they don't really know what their purpose is anymore without her. And maybe seeing some of those kids reinstilled that for them of like, oh, we can make a difference, like even if we're kind of aimless right now and we don't know what we're doing. So like even something like that is more of a separate episode compared to like 1 and 3 felt so meaningful. And I loved that whole episode. And it was so creepy and crawly and scary. Like, it had all the fun kind of Indiana Jones style things of like running through the hallways and trying to go into like a base with the vines and everything. It was so creepy. And then that like Sarlacc thing at the end, that was something else.
I've got a bone to pick with the spooky monsters. They're weird. They unsettle me.
The little guys running around were kind of cute. The ones that got chopped off the vine and then they just became a little crab thing.
Cute. No, you're no. I don't accept that opinion, actually. No.
My first Bad Batch L take of the season.
Right. No, nothing. No, not cute. Unsettling. It reminded me a little bit of Half-Life, the video game. Just kind of like in a corner of my mind. But yeah, no. I'm not for the spider-like creatures in any sense of the crawlies. No crawlies for Sarah.
Yeah. It's more so like, at least, okay, but I do like that it was introduced as this sort of out of control super weapon that the Empire was going to have, I guess, and it just went out of control and they had to abandon it. So like that's such a creepy, anything abandoned like that is such a creepy element, and I love it. I love that aspect of it. Something about me though is I don't like, whether it's live action or animated, I don't like the like creatures like that with like mouths. That sounds
the big maw.
I don't like that. I especially don't like when they're like slobbery, and it's something that I've never liked it. So there's parts in like the live action, every Star Wars movie has something that gives me the ick, and everybody else always loves it and they laugh. For me, I hate it. I wasn't expecting it that soon. There it is. So I'm not afraid of spiders. I didn't mind that part. It's just once I saw the mouth, I was like, it's not for me.
Yeah, there is something so unsettling about all the teeth. It kind of reminded me of Lord of the Rings Fellowship when they're before the Mines of Moria, when Frodo is getting dangled over the water and the big thing opens up its mouth and it's like trying to eat him, and I'm like, ah. But I loved that Wrecker just drops the grenade and it doesn't really do anything. He's like, get the whole crate, and they push it in and he just drops the one. And I love that it didn't even just go straight down. It kind of did a little dance through the mouth and bounced off a couple teeth into the full belly. Just like little small details like that are just so excellent in the show. I just had a great time. It was good.
That also keeps it fun. You know?
Yeah.
Keeps it a little silly, for the kiddos, whatever kiddos may be watching the show at this point.
The adult kiddos, us who are enjoying the show.
Who's watching the show about fascism and clone rights and
right.
Dr. Hemlock.
Star Wars has always been like that, though. You're like, this is a show for children? Okay,
Really?
if you say so.
I don't see it. There's a lot of sadness and heavy topics, and really, I mean, we weren't really getting. I guess I was going to say we weren't really getting any sort of happy endings, but that's not true because we were blessedly given an escape in episode 3, which, oh my gosh, I can't even start to like praise how I mean, I'm so grateful that we did not have to wait the whole season to get that. I would say that's like probably the thing that made me the happiest because I just wasn't expecting it so soon, but it was still it was still sad and dark.
Yeah. And I want to go back to what you said about like the abandoned creature and how like compelling that is, but also creepy it is. But like obviously throughout these episodes we're talking about Project Necromancer.
Right.
Again, for the 7-year-olds, necromancy. But Project Necromancer, we're talking about, these mutated, out of control creatures. It makes me think of course, the sequel trilogy. It makes me think of right now the High Republic, the Nameless Baron Bulin, etc., etc. There, that's all creepy, unsettling stuff, and I just want to thank my girl Nalase for being like, we do not test Omega's sample. We do not do that in this house.
Said ever so gently and quietly and very slowly.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
When she was talking to Omega and giving her the instructions to get her data pad, I was like, let's pick it up a little bit. I don't know how Hemlock has not noticed you yet. Even you are very quiet, but we are speaking so at a glacial pace right now.
Yeah. We will have quite a bit to say, I'm sure, about Necromancer and Nala Say. Yeah. I do want to go to what you said, Molly, about the escape and how early it's happening in the season, because I had the same worry about, okay, mid-season finale is 2 episodes, so it's probably going to be the escape episode, and the second half is going to be something. I was shocked too.
Yeah.
And the closer we got to this escape actually happening, I was kind of like gripping my edge of my seat. I was like, oh my God. And I was getting so into the show because it was such a surprise. And Batcher being a part of it too, and taking down some stormtroopers.
Excellent foreshadowing.
There's just so many payoffs from that first episode. And I have never felt so happy watching Omega and like Crosshair just jump into hyperspace, even though I'm kind of worried about all the forces that the Empire is going to throw at them. And will Wrecker and Hunter be able to actually find them anytime soon? You know, I'm kind of worried there, like how long is it going to take to actually reunite? But it was very vindicating. It was very fulfilling.
We've got a bunch more episodes, but we're in a bunch of places right now. You know, Omega, Crosshair, Echo, Wrecker, Hunter. By the end of it, Tech's coming back too. It's all coming full circle. I'm not giving up hope on it. I'm not giving up hope on any of them. Neither is Omega.
Tech's there. I never, it's Star Wars, so obviously everybody is still alive. They get resurrected, whatever. They're always there. There's always a chance for redemption, et cetera, et cetera. I did expect, for some reason, I thought that we were going to get, we really just we only heard Tech's name one time, I guess, when Crosshair was talking to Omega.
Yeah, well, we hear his name one time, but then there's also one other reference to him between, I believe, Wrecker and Hunter, when it's well, last time we went together on a mission, not ready for it, or last time we went to Tantiss or whatever, not all of us made it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Ouch.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a glimpse of that one clone assassin in episode 3. I don't know if you both caught it, but there's a moment in there where there's a guy, he looked like the assassin from season 2 that was hunting down, I think, some of the regs in one of the episodes on Coruscant. And it's just for a quick moment. They're standing there with their arms crossed, and then they turn around and walk into a door and walk away. And some people think that this specific clone, some people think it is just the same assassin or same kind of assassin soldier, but other people are thinking or theorizing that Tech might be a Winter Soldier situation where he was captured by the Empire. Hemlock had the goggles that he showed the rest of the Bad Batch, right? So like obviously they saw the body or recovered the body. Is it a situation of maybe Tech has been brainwashed or corrupted and he is now serving the Empire against his will?
Like reprogrammed because
he used to have the chip and it's out now, but like where do you both kind of truly sit on the Tech is alive, Tech is dead, maybe Tech is Winter Soldier?
100% Tech is alive. I'm sorry, I won't allow myself to agree with that. Else. This is an animated show supposedly for children. We aren't killing Tech. I'm sorry. Everybody loves Tech.
And B, like I need them to
goggles.
I know it's.
Come on.
I also was expecting her sooner, but I mean, aside from that, I'm 50-50. I think that everyone's theory is great, and that's the one I want to believe that he is there, which is so because that's another creepy element that Omega and Crosshair were there, right there, and he was there. Like the thought of like him being there all along is just like I love that. I love the creepy element to that. But then there's the other half of me that just delights in being completely surprised. And I just, after how great these 3 episodes were, I want to think like that they aren't going to do that. And it's going to be something that we haven't been guessing. But, it's very 50-50 because sometimes the fans are able to predict things very accurately and sometimes not. So I don't know.
It's going to be interesting. I am of the hope that we have the Resistance creators on the show and Resistance had that happy ending. And I would truly love for this show to have that everybody lives moment.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the escape happening so soon in the season, which kind of begs the question, okay, how do we get back to Mount Tantiss? Why would we ever go back there? And Jennifer Corbett has talked about how Mount Tantiss is a character this season. Like we're going to uncover a lot of the lore about it and all the teases that we've had in seasons 1 and 2. So like, why would we go back there? And to me, the only explanation would be, oh my God, Mollie, what you said, we were there for so long and Tech was there too. And we just didn't even.
And now we have to go back.
Now we have to go back and get Tech.
Yeah.
This is a bit of an aside from what we've been talking about, but I do think it plays into this conversation of why do we need to go back to Tantiss? How do we feel about Emery?
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Right. We met her at like the end of last season and oh my gosh, she's another like woman clone. She is definitely on Team Hemlock or Team Empire, or at least Team Order. But we do see a moment of compassion from her, which I think opens the door for her to come back or have another story in this season, which I found to be really, really interesting and surprising. Because I didn't know what to expect from her, but right away we got kind of order, I do this thing, straight and narrow sort of a thing. And then we kind of get something out of the ordinary from her, which I thought was really interesting.
And not just Emery, but all the clones they're experimenting on, right?
Totally.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if we wanted that Stormtrooper rebellion in The Rise of Skywalker that we didn't get. So what if we get that Clone Trooper rebellion here and they all go live on Pabu happily ever after, right? Because they tell the clone cadets, like, we know an island if you need a home.
Yeah.
I was like, I know it too.
They're setting up all these little tiny pieces in these first couple episodes. And like, I think Pabu could be the place that the Bad Batch just retires on with all the clones. And this is a clone sanctuary and they spend the rest of their days bringing more clones to their sanctuary and just saving them.
That's a nice ending.
I think that's such a cool ending.
I fully think, that's where I think it's going. Like, yeah. I fully believe that's where it's going, especially because we got that as the solution for, we're not going to drop off the kids with, I don't know where else they would have taken them because, where else would they have gone? And
we're certainly not going to Sid,
Thank you. I was going to say it and then I was like, wait, no. never mind. I completely forgot. So I fully expect, obviously, Sidemption is going to happen. But even though I was so angry. Oh my gosh, I was so angry last season. I was like, you betrayed me. But
yeah.
I think that's where it's heading, especially because we thought that we were going, a lot of fans, myself included, thought we were getting some sort of a rebellion at the end of season 2. So I still think that's what's going to happen. And I think they're okay with showing us that they would end up on Pabu altogether, because obviously we've gone through so much in 3 episodes. There has to be some heavy story left to tell, because we had to get through this. They were like, here, you can have this on the first, like the premiere date. You get 3 episodes because we have so much more to tell. But I think Pabu is just one of those things. At least I believe that it's endgame, I guess, for them, and that they all live.
They better. I trust them. I'm not going to say or else. I trust them if it's not going to be that that they'll give us something really exciting and satisfying emotionally for our characters. But they better.
I think I don't know why. Like, what reason do I have to think that I am going to get a super happy ending? I don't know, but I fully believe it's going to happen, at least in some form. And maybe not. I'm not convinced about Omega ending up there. I think her story might go separately, but Emery, I actually don't. I was not expecting her to have kept the Lula, and was very surprised at her giving it back. But then, I mean, she does seem to have compassion. So obviously she's not like super programmed at all, I guess. She just follows orders. But I mean, that was nice to see.
That was a surprise. I haven't even thought about that until you brought it up, Sarah. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I think Emery could make a turn for the better.
I think so.
It's just, what is the quote from Nemec? Like, small acts of insurrection is like what will turn the tide, right? It's like Emery giving that doll back is a small act of insurrection in a way that maybe Emery doesn't even realize. It's her going against her own programming and what she has been conditioned to be and to serve. And it's just a little bit of cracks in the glass, like tiny little cracks, and eventually the glass breaks, and that's all the story is.
Hemlock's not surviving.
Who is it?
No, of course not. Of course not.
Well, then who gets Hemlock? Could it be Emery? Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that would make sense, right?
I think so.
He looks like Jeremy Renner.
And we can't keep Jeremy Renner around in Star Wars.
No, it just wouldn't work.
That's a man who knows what a phone is, like we can't.
I gotta ask the question too, where are Echo and Rex? Because we
vibe them.
It was alluded to that they are doing something,
hanging out.
We've seen Cad Bane in the trailer. We know Fennec's coming this season. We know from last season we met Gregor. Remember Gregor?
Yeah.
And some of those other clones that will eventually become Rex's buddies in Rebels. What are they doing? Because the last episode of the series is called "The Cavalry Has Arrived." Ooh. And that's the first line the Bad Batch ever utters on screen in Star Wars. "The cavalry has arrived."
I didn't even connect that.
Yeah. So are Rex and Echo getting the cavalry together? Are we going like full Avengers 100%. Infinity War Endgame? We're bringing the whole cavalry.
I want everyone to show up like that.
Asajj Ventress. Like everybody's going to Mount Tantiss. Yes. We're just busting the doors down. We're rescuing our boy Tech.
Yes.
Now you said it, and that's all I want. I want that because I am fully the person that was just. I am the right person for an endgame style team up. I love a team up. Like I love it. That's my favorite thing in Marvel is like when they start teaming up. Those are my favorite movies, or like any element is just because I like Friends, and I want that.
You're in the right place.
Yeah. I love that part of Endgame, even though people are like, oh, this is so overdone or it's cheesy. I love it. And we got it with Rise of Skywalker, sort of. I mean, I was feeling different emotions, but we did get it, and we sort of got it. So I would like it done extremely well here. That would be great. Powerful music, all the friends arriving. Omega's like, I don't know, writing Batcher. Just that would make me so happy.
Batcher is 100% a part of Clone Force 99 now. Like, it's so serious. Like, Batcher is sticking around. I'm absolutely convinced of it.
I need the Captain America moment where he's like, Avengers Assemble, but it's just like, it's just Hunter going, Batch, get bad.
Yeah.
Jail for that, honestly. I'm watching back this trailer right now as we're talking through this, because I won't lie to you, I did forget the trailer existed a little bit, not in like a bad way, but we're in the thick of the episode, so I was like, oh my gosh, yes, Asajj Ventress. We had a whole like 3 days on Twitter when we talked about this.
I don't know how I forgot that either. We were all tweeting nonstop about it. How did I forget?
But there is a moment here when we see our clone sniper buddy that we don't like, because he's a little mysterious and scary, and he's like leading a force of stormtroopers. So that's clone assassin guy. So that's interesting.
I think somebody actually noticed too in the background of that shot that you're referencing. I think somebody saw the tree of Pabu.
Oh
no!
I don't know, but that also begs the question: how would they know about Pabu, and who is the assassin? If it's Tech. Tech would know about Pabu, right? I mean,
that's upsetting. Oh no.
I'm looking at this one shot now.
Yeah, a little worried.
Don't freak me out like that.
Yeah, I was hoping this was like top secret island. Nobody can go except the good guys.
Don't bring the war to Pabu.
Right.
I'm not strong enough for that.
Like, I want to think that they're nice and isolated, and that's why we don't hear anything about it in anything else. Oh no. Are you cross-referencing?
Yeah. It's not looking good.
Oh no, Brad! Why would you
so
do
good.
this to us?
No, because if you look at like Upper Pabu, if you look up Upper Pabu or Lower Pabu on Wikipedia fandom, I just looked up Pabu Star Wars on Google. If you guys want to also cross-reference with me, listeners, and also 102 on the final official season trailer, whatever. We're in the nighttime. We're in the nighttime for the stormtrooper situation, but we are in the daytime for the tree photo situation. But we're on like a tiled or concrete or whatever sort of floor, and it seems to have patterns. The one by the tree also has patterns on the floor. So I don't know. It doesn't feel good, guys. We could be wrong, but it doesn't feel good.
They could still happily ever after epilogue on Pabu. It is okay. We are still in it. Keep your bets betting.
But the clones, but the stormtroopers aren't clones, so they shouldn't be there.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Doesn't feel good, fam.
Yeah, that kind of destroys some of my theories. So I do like to be surprised, I suppose. But...
You did mention
well, that would explain the name of episode 11, which is Pabu No More. That's the name. I'm just kidding.
You're so mean for that.
It's the Qui-Gon's noble end of the Bad Batch.
Oh my
Pabu's
god!
Noble end.
Never again. The Bad Batch. I'm googling. This is episode's going right.
We're so unhinged. We're fully 45 minutes in. We're unhinged.
Wait.
We've reached the point of no return. Mollie, what have you done by coming on this show here? You've really signed up for something that you weren't anticipating, I'm sure.
Wait,
maybe you were anticipating it.
50-50 probably.
Can I share all the episode titles just so for us to ponder here this I love pondering. Season? So we have Confined, of course, Paths Unknown, Shadows of Tantiss. We've all seen these. A Different Approach, The Return, Infiltration, Extraction, Bad Territory, The Harbinger, Identity Crisis, Point of No Return, Juggernaut, Into the Breach, Flash, Strike, and The Cavalry Has Arrived. Why do I feel like I'm just getting punched like every single time that I read one of these?
Right.
Like Infiltration, Extraction, Identity Crisis, The Point of No Return, Juggernaut.
Children's show.
Right. Show for children, 8 to 12, thereabouts. But like some of the ones of episode 2 or season 2, pardon me, like Pabu or Metamorphosis, The Summit, you know, like the Solitary Clone, like these they don't give off the same vibe necessarily, even though we've all seen all those episodes. These give me vibes.
Was The Summit the one that was the best episode of season 2, the one with Crosshair?
Yeah.
I think it was that episode, but I might be wrong. So I apologize to any listener that's like yelling at me. But
I think that
I wasn't
that's The Outpost, actually.
Yes, you're right. That is true. Good job, me, the biggest Bad Batch fan ever.
No. I got some High Republic book title names wrong, like on an episode a couple episodes ago. It's cool.
Look, there's a lot. Okay, and we have to contend with like them randomly bringing elements from Legends in sometimes to Star Wars projects. So then you're adding another layer to it, especially if you are even a little familiar with like the expanded universe. But I wasn't expecting that with. Maybe it's going to be an opposite effect where we get the like Extraction, but it's actually kind of like a fun little adventure. I think I'm just being a little optimistic here, but
maybe Extraction is just an episode about one of them getting a sliver in their finger, and they extract the piece of the sliver out of their finger, and it's just a happy Band-Aid moment and boo boo, you know.
Yeah, like Gonky got stuck somewhere.
Yeah. But speaking of Gonky honks is my favorite Star Wars subtitle. You cannot convince me there is a better Star Wars subtitle that exists. Gonky honks
or gonk
can't be beaten. Yeah. Or Gonky gonks or Gonky parentheses honk. Yeah, honk gonk. You know,
gonk spelled GHONK.
Yeah, that's the proper spelling.
I love Gonky.
Yeah, we also, if the cavalry has arrived, we can't forget Gonky. He's gonna have like rockets on him. He's gonna be like shooting missiles. He is like getting the full upgrade. Speaking of Mountain Tantiss, I think we need to talk about the Necromancer in the room, because it's very interesting that this show is sort of veering into territory of like possibly explaining, you know, the whole somehow Palpatine returned backstory, which like maybe if you'd asked me like a year or two ago, I would have been like, no, let's not do that. But if it's executed well, I'm up for a little quirky Star Wars, because we heard about Project Necromancer and The Mandalorian, because I think Giancarlo Esposito's character mentions it to the council that he talks to. I think he says Project Necromancer. So we know that this goes into like post Return of the Jedi territory, at least.
Interesting.
So Project Necromancer, like from the vibe I got, is that they're trying to find a suitable blood sample that will allow them to transfer midichlorians to a new host and not have the midichlorians be degraded, or the M count.
Oh, is that what that? Oh my gosh, how did I not? Oh, did I miss something? Is that M count? Like, did I miss?
We're making leaps in terms. I don't think they ever say midichlorians.
I want the midichlorians to be reintroduced back. That's something that I know a lot of people might disagree with, but I love when it ties into something that Lucasfilm has like deemed unsuitable for current canon, and they eventually bring it back. So you could say on a larger scale, that's the prequels, where we're getting so much content now for them after ignoring them for so long. I think this is sort of our steps in this, plus the Rey movie, are our steps into really getting concrete footing with a tie back to a lot of the things that were introduced without follow up in, especially with Rise of Skywalker. So that's why I really like this, because it's not like the whole overall arc of Bad Batch has not been about Project Necromancer. I just really like that it's there and that it's more than likely being tied in, and that Omega factors in somehow. And, you know, she's already like our, you know, special, like, wonderful princess. And yeah, love her so much. Even with her little pony, I like her little ponytail, but I'm very stuck on that. I'm still very stuck on the passage of time. But I really, I don't know. I don't understand what I missed. But I really like the idea of also having midichlorian there too. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting piece of the puzzle because, like, it factored into a really, really maybe the most important piece of canon to canon, and then it just hasn't really been brought back. But since we are in the science division, it gives them an opportunity to bring it back in a way that doesn't feel maybe jarring to an audience who has negative opinions about it. And also, if it is indeed the M count, if that is what we are referencing here, I think kind of bringing in that way keeps it fresh as well.
Yeah.
And I'm all for to like showing the fact that Palpatine's return was not only just completely out of left field. Like, this is something that goes like, it goes way back. Like, he was doing this at the beginning of the Empire. Like, as soon as it started, he was putting the pieces out. I mean, we know from the Aftermath trilogy, he had all those outposts like on Jakku. He had that like underground area. And he had a lot of different, and the red robed guys in Battlefront, I forget what they're called, with his face.
The Sentinels.
Yeah. So like, he's got a lot of stuff going on. And I think it is kind of interesting to have, like, Star Wars is always this battle between like tech and nature. And you have the villain of Star Wars trying to take something that is natural, your connection to the Force, and replicate it in a scientific way. And like, ultimately it will not work for him. He will be defeated. But like, it's interesting how he's trying to almost ruin that element of nature.
Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? I just wanted to ask.
I mean, like, maybe read some like fanfic about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Which fanfic have you read about Darth Plagueis? I actually don't want to know. Don't finish that. Don't finish that thought.
Okay. No, I actually
probably not from the Jedi. I mean,
I did say that my dream cosplay would be to somehow be the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, or Squid Lake, which is occurring while he's talking about it. So I just don't think this is something I can execute, but it is always there in my mind thinking about it.
I love the thought. That's beautiful. That's excellent. I have no notes. Like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard. Like, I have so many thoughts about it. But like, point being, that Palpatine has clearly been thinking about all of this for a long time. Like, I think it's fundamental, you know, whether I like or agree kind of with how things played out in the sequel trilogy at the end there, but like, that idea is fundamental to his personhood for sure. As we've seen throughout various forms of Star Wars media. The Sentinels always freak me out, because they have like his face like projected on this body like figure.
What show was it? Where was it? They all start to, the live action shows tend to like run into one another for me sometimes. Was it, which one had the bodies? Was it Obi-Wan that had?
Oh, that was the Mandalorian when they go the base on Navarro, like when Mando's walking past the tanks and you see the bodies inside the blue water tanks.
What?
I thought they were.
Wait, no, explain this more to me, Brad.
Okay, so this is sort of getting into like, again, the time that we've heard about Project Necromancer, because we have to remember too, in Mando, why do they want Grogu? Remember when Mando rescues Grogu in episode 3 of The Mandalorian, The Sin, and he's on the little table and Dr. Pershing is like, has a thing over him or whatever. And you see some stuff on the wall. I think it's because the one M count that would have worked, Omega, escaped for 20 years. Nobody could find an M count that would be suitable for Palpatine. And they're even trying to find it with Grogu. Like, is Grogu's M count going to be good? Like, he is the child.
Certainly.
He is like, he's a young Yoda species. So his midichlorian count is probably pretty high at this point. Because like Yoda has a really high midichlorian count and he's like 800 years old. So I got to imagine this 50-year-old little Yoda guy, it's probably way higher. Like they're still chasing a blood sample even in the Mandalorian to like make their clones work.
But we saw that I could have sworn we saw it in another show where it was like Jedi Masters, right?
That was Fortress Inquisitorius, like when Obi-Wan's in the hallway and he's seeing the Jedi that the Inquisitors killed, I think. And the orange crystals.
Yeah, I don't know why I think that ties it.
Oh.
Could be connected.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it could be, because remember somebody asks Hemlock in one of these episodes, they're like, Omega asks, I think, either Emery or Hemlock, and she's like, oh, who are the test subjects, like clones? And then somebody says not clones.
Oh my God. I'm having a bit of a crisis, guys. I've forgotten everything that I've ever seen in Star Wars, and it's all coming back to me in this moment. Oh my gosh. I know.
Remember when Palpatine walks in the room with all those like red pods and the red stuff on the floor with Hemlock? Like, what if those pods have Jedi in them that have been killed?
Guys, we got to cut this episode short. Like, I got to go to bed. Like, I can't. Like, I got to think about this. Like, this is...
Holy shit, Mollie.
I genuinely think that like they are just leaning fully into this being a children's show that is it's not for children, and it's trying to correct things. But like, I really like the idea of tying in everything together. I mean, obviously Resistance, like we know where that fit into canon, but this is answering a lot of open-ended questions and connecting a lot of I think like the live action shows have been trying to do that, where they're connecting into one another somehow. And again, with the announcement of the Rey movie, apologies if it's Rey trilogy now, I'm like blanking, but
I have no idea.
Yeah, but maybe that's it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. All I could think about were those pod things. I think because I
wouldn't be surprised if Palpatine's Inquisitorius was somehow the prisoner, the Jedi that they're either killing or taking captive are also subjects to experimentation. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
I don't think there's any way that those things aren't linked at this point. Like Palpatine, Mr. Grand Plan guy, like, and I know Vader's kind of like a rogue element in some ways against Palpatine, but Palpatine is still running every aspect of the show at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think he was introduced so early on in this season too. And he's just like, boom, special visitor.
None other than everybody's favorite guy.
Oh yeah. I'm like, oh great, here he is again. But like we knew it was coming to this too. That's why I genuinely forgot though at the beginning, like in the first episode, I genuinely forgot why we were even there, and that it was all for Project Necromancer. I was like, oh, they're just sometimes I just don't think deeply enough. I guess I take it very much at face value. So I'm like, oh, they're just in a lab doing some science, I guess. I thought someone was going to burst out of the rotating vials. I thought it was those were being like put into tech maybe, and someone was going to come bursting out of that box. I don't know what I was thinking.
You know what? I see the logic.
Thank you. It makes me feel better.
What do we think of the fact that Omega's blood didn't show any signs of M count degradation? Does that mean Omega is like possibly force sensitive? Because we know that all the Bad Batch have their specific skill. We don't really know like what Omega's skill is yet. We don't know like what her for lack of a better word, like what makes her a Bad Batch, I guess. Like what is that?
And it's not that she's a girl anymore. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like is Is it that she's a
You're
force
not
sensitive, so that's
special.
what makes her different than all the other clones? I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out, but do you guys think that there's something there with force sensitivity, or could it just be maybe a more simple explanation and maybe she's just special in a different way?
I think she is like one of the originals, like one of the first, and like, you know, the repetition of the cloning over time maybe increases the level of instability or degradation of the M count or whatever. So I think that's why she is special. I'm just saying stuff. I also just think she's special because she's Omega. Have you met her? Like, she's the
Right,
bestest
right.
ever.
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's got, I mean, they're showing once again with Thatcher the super sensitivity to all living creatures, to an animal. We've seen that with Ezra in Rebels. He's force sensitive. I don't know. Is this kind of a thing on repeat?
Rey has that moment too.
True. Mr. Snake, like, we got that there.
I think it's kind of it's a hero thing, but it tells you the compassion of your hero. But yeah, it's happened to these other really prominent force sensitives. What does that say about Omega, if anything?
I'm really excited to learn more. Like, I even though all the cloning stuff is silly in some way,
it's Star
I'm
Wars.
here for it. It's Star Wars. Like, it's
all
fine.
silly.
It's fine. I like weird science, weird stuff going on. Like, even though some aspects of The Mandalorian aren't my favorite, it's so silly when Moff Gideon's like, I want to use midichlorians to make myself a Jedi. Like, he's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's so funny.
Who
right?
among us doesn't want to use all the midichlorians to make
right?
ourselves a Jedi?
Who can blame him?
I'm telling you, I've been waiting for there. Finally, like, I want that the little reader that Qui-Gon has. Like, let's go. Let's all.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I don't know. I mean, normally I'm very against having to tie things back to the Jedi and force sensitives, but I also would be weirdly okay with this one. I think I'm saying that now, but maybe I'll feel differently in the middle of the season. I don't know, but because I guess I am reassured that, like, she will not end up with a lightsaber in her hand, so that makes me feel a little bit better. I don't know.
I do feel I get what you're saying. I do feel some general hesitancy to the idea that like, women characters need to be force sensitive Jedis in order to be powerful, because like, obviously we've known Omega for going on 3 seasons now. We that's not what makes her, you know, like, I would hate for her to have some sort of arc this season where it's like, oh, she's force sensitive and that's why she's amazing, you know, when it's her as a person that makes her really compelling, and she already is powerful, and she already is all these things, you know. That's another conversation for another episode. But
that's a great point. Point. I didn't even
agree with that.
But like, but I also think that, like, her being force sensitive or her M count not having any, you know, degradation could be really compelling. I think as long as it for me, like, doesn't change how we understand Omega as a person, if that makes sense. Because I feel like with you know, other characters, it was supposed to change the way that we had understood them all along, and I don't think that is nice.
No, we don't need it.
That's such a fair point, Sarah, and I kind of agree. I don't think I would want Omega to go like full Jedi if she were force sensitive, but I think there's degrees of force sensitivity. I think Omega's compassion maybe speaks to her ability to be force sensitive in a way that she can understand feelings better, and that she can, I mean, like with Batcher, like she has a creature that she links to and like protects her. And we've seen so many times in Star Wars where a Jedi will reach out to a creature. I mean, just look at Ezra and the Purgle. And so I think there's varying degrees of like what makes you force sensitive. And I think maybe hers could just be that compassion. It could be that sense of understanding, kind of like, I think Leia, before she became like full Jedi training mode, wasn't some of her specialness with the Force, just the ability to connect with people. I think that was talked about in Princess and the Scoundrel as well.
Princess and the Scoundrel, and in the Last Jedi novelization. Thank you, Jason Fry, for some of those great Leia passages where she's just kind of intuiting with how other people are feeling on the ship.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe could be a scenario where it's just like Omega is Force sensitive. Yes, she's not going to be a Jedi. It's not going to change who she is, but it's going to maybe help inform why she is the way she is. And like, that's maybe part of it, is just that deeper level of empathy that she can sense and feel from others allows her to connect and be so trusting of others. And even Crosshair asks her, like, how can you be so trusting? Like, you need to tone it down a bit. And maybe she can't help it because maybe she's just born with it, you know? I don't know. I would kind of like that direction with it, I think.
I agree. I like that. I definitely, she is a like great, my fear with, before starting Bad Batch was, we have the super special female character, but she's not like that. I mean, she's just she really changes how everyone around her interact. Like, she just like puts them on a different path. We saw it with Emery too. And she could just naturally be like that. I mean, now I'm like, okay, no, don't let her be Force sensitive, because we don't need another like female character I love female characters who don't have a strong connection with the Force at all. Just because it makes them feel so much more relatable, I guess, too, for me.
Yeah. And I think like, I think we have a lot more representations of male characters who get to be powerful in all different sorts of ways. And not as many for women. And that's a lot of factors play into that. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see where Omega goes. I love my girl. I'll never betray my love for her. Mm-hmm. like she is everything. So treat her well, writers. Yeah. I love you. Please be nice to Omega. I won't even say or else. Like, I'm not even offering an ultimatum. I just please, pretty please.
Yeah.
I do want to say the suspense that built up for the blood dial or the blood
thing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
That on the wheel. So good.
Okay. That used as like a countdown for like the action was so
good.
Good. And so compelling.
And like, you knew it was coming, right? But it's still, you felt it when it happened. You're like, oh my God, no, the blood sample, it got tested. No.
Right. Don't let it be Omegas. Don't let it be Omegas.
And then it's this like beam of golden light or whatever. Like,
yeah. I loved it. That was kind of a corny detail, but I loved it. I was like, yeah.
I love how there was no follow through, and nobody was like, are we sure we tested Omega? And then the reaction to it was, oh, it's Omega. And I was like, really? Like, did anyone go to school here? Like, did we just join up? I'm very surprised that there wasn't more of a reaction, but I don't know. I was just a little surprised. That's all.
It's the evil plan, not a hero plan. So it's like,
okay, true.
Here we go. The evil plan, and not like, haha, the hero plan.
And let them escape tied to the end of a string,
Right.
I'm sure we'll also see some of those consequences for Nala Se. And I think people have been saying like actions have consequences. Like, some of the creators have been saying that in their tweets, and I'm like kind of worried what that means.
Hemlock says it too, directly.
Yes. Yeah. So shout out to Nala Se though. I think it is so ironic that it's the Kaminoans who basically bring the Empire into existence, but it's also the one Kaminoan who had an act of defiance and probably prevented Palpatine's like full plan from becoming real, because they would have been tested. Her blood sample would have been tested sooner, and they would have had her under lock and key like pretty badly.
So we're here to say that Nala Se is the key to all of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I would say so.
We have Nala Se to thank for, for everything, really.
She's the last living Kaminoan, I think. Because what's his face died, I think. I think they killed him at the end of last season. Lama Su.
Yeah.
He's dead. She might be the last one.
There've got to be other Kaminoans on
Don't
Kamino.
we see one in another show?
Isn't there? Well, isn't there? Is it Nalase that we see, or is it like another Senator Coruscant episodes last season? It's been a while.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Nalase.
I don't think there's any.
Did we see one in the live action?
Any.
No, we've never seen a Kaminoan in live action. No, we haven't. Well, other than they're digital in episode 2 or 3.
Because I thought the whole point of like destroying Kamino was like, oh, Kamino's wiped off of existence now. Like there are no Kaminoans.
We just destroyed Tapoka City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Which is
doesn't, but like Kamino's off the map.
Probably the only city,
no one even know it exists, you know.
But there aren't like 3 Kaminoans. Like there's got to be more Kaminoans. And they don't all live and work on Tapoka City. Come on.
Well, they might though, because they're trying to create a secret clone army. Like they
I love the idea that there's only 3 of them. That's my biggest takeaway.
There's more. I refuse. They live on.
No. They're too tall.
They're too tall. No, they don't live anywhere, but they live on another city on the other side of Kamino where it's sunny all the time.
Yeah, the other half of the planet.
That's the other show. It's always sunny in Kamino on the other side of Kamino.
Like guys, like there's no way that the entire planet of Castellon is like devoid of any humans except for the Colossus.
I think it is.
Like I understand that it is a water planet. No, there's no way. There's no way.
How dare you disrespect Bebo's people? Why can't Bebo and his species just exist on that planet without your basic ass human beings having to be there living?
You know what? You're right. You're right. I'm gonna give it to you. I was really thinking about the bipeds, and I did not consider
of you.
You should be thinking about Bebo.
Stop thinking about humans. Humans are not.
Well, I'm not even talking about humans.
I'm just
talking about bipeds. I'm just talking about bipeds. 2 feet. Okay. I'm sorry.
You have a bias.
I'm sorry.
How about less?
So does Star Wars.
How about
so does Star Wars.
Bipeds and less bias. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Droid rights. You know.
Jesus.
You know what? You know who also has a bias? Star Wars, Lucasfilm, respect. Okay. But like, we can't have Cal Kestis be a girl because we have a girl main character in the movies. We also considered making the Cal Kestis. I will never be over this, you guys. I will also. We also considered making the Cal Kestis character like a creature, but then we thought, they couldn't connect to the Cal Kestis character if it's a creature.
So it needs to be a redhead. Again.
And no shade to Dominic or Cam Monaghan, amazing. I love everything about Cal Kestis, love of my life, but like, I will never be over that one comment. Okay.
I didn't even know about that comment, and now I'm like, that's why? Oh.
Oof.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's sad.
Well, anyway, point stands. Kamino can be an all-ocean planet.
Other Kaminoans
there are only 3 Kaminoans in existence, and they all died.
Do Kaminoans swim?
Of course, right? They have to. They look like I don't know what they look like, but they look like they could. They look like they could easily like dive in.
Yeah. They look like there's a particular dinosaur.
If you live on an ocean planet and you don't evolve to be able to swim, I'm sorry, you don't deserve to evolve further.
They can't evolve. There's only 3 of them. So
no more evolving for you. You couldn't learn to swim. You've had too many chances. Thousands of years of evolution and you just can't figure it out. Just put a floaty on, goddammit. That's all it takes is one floaty. You can create a clone army, but you can't get floaties. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wait, who's building the city? Who's building the city if there are only 3 of them? Those are not construction worker Kaminoans.
Yeah, who? Did the little creatures that they ride, did they build the city? It's like who built the pyramids? Who built Tapoka City? You know?
Oh, okay. So my theory is wrong because I forgot that we see more of them. So
did the Wills build Tapoka City?
Money.
No.
Money.
Did the midichlorians build it?
You know what? They just put money out into the rainwater and it magically transformed into a city that stands on stilts on the ocean planet. Where does it even anchor? I don't know.
I've always wondered that. I don't understand.
Count Dooku just dumped a bunch of credits into the water and was like, boom, here you go, Palpatine.
On a literal pile of credits.
Yeah.
Like, how did they reach the bottom? There's like unknown horrors down there, but somehow they were able to do that. I don't know.
I can't believe, I mean, we were at first saying, let's talk about the Bad Batch, but now I really think we need to just break down Camino as a place.
I'm obsessed
and
with
people.
Camino. Camino is one of those like things for me. That's one of my like things.
Camino, Kashyyyk, I'm both of them. I'm the same way. I latched onto it as a child and was like, this is, for some reason, this is my thing.
I can't believe Camino's not on Star Tours. I just have to say that right now. Like, why?
That is a whole separate conversation and a can of worms you do not want to open right now.
Yeah, no. Okay, can of worms closed. Go on.
But put it on Rise. Just I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways,
I feel very strong.
Camino Ocean, very scary, but also where do those credits go when they evolved into the city? I want to know. It's like when you look at all the water in Disney World and it's just full of pennies. It's like, who knows?
Where?
Maybe everywhere, like everywhere in Epcot just has pennies in the water, you know? Like it's just people like wishing.
There, Mollie.
Wishing
I know, I haven't
random
been.
wishes. It's just like, oh, I'll throw a penny in the water. Like,
Yeah.
is Topoka City just going to spring out of Epcot one day because of all the pennies that are in there? Who knows?
But and on the Epcot of Camino, it's gonna be like all of our favorite planets, right? Like it's gonna be we can go to Kashyyyk and Crate and Coruscant. And what are some of your favorite planets, team, that we can add to it? Mustafar, just for fun.
Utapau.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Of course.
I'm put on the spot. I mean, you said Crate.
Naboo.
I'm obsessed with. Yeah, that's a given. I feel like,
but I hadn't said it, so I just wanted to make sure.
You know,
I had said it.
We have lost the plot so much on this episode. It's actually it's insane. It's insane.
You're bringing up the things I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed with planets. Like,
oh my God.
Oh,
pin it, come back. I talk about planets all day.
Ooh, I really could. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Anyway, Omega, we love her.
Yes. I love my batch. I was gonna say normally I thrive off this completely separate. Normally I thrive off of Wrecker. He's who I came out of season 1 just like obsessed with. But I would say season 2, I started off like I don't understand why people like Crosshair. Ended season 2 going, he is now my favorite, and it kind of flip-flopped, you know, because like obviously everyone came out of season 1 really loving Wrecker and Hunter. They definitely feel like sort of not second tier. That seems so mean, but they were not the stars of the show for this release, and I really like that. I left it saying, no, it's Crosshair and Omega for me all the way, and that's who I care about, and I don't care about anyone else, even though I am hoping that Tech is coming out to surprise us, but completely unrelated.
I agree that like I think some of the clones were given more space than others to really kind of be able to become fan favorites. But I think that the ability to split them up as they have been right now, and if we continue to get a little bit more of each of them before they all come back together, it might give us some more space to fall for each of them a little bit.
Yeah.
I hope. Because because then when they come all back together, Calvary has arrived, we'll be like, yes,
yeah,
all my guys, you know? So, yeah, I love the Crosshair Omega team up because they're polar opposites of one another. And they both have something that the other person needs in order to succeed. So they're a great duo.
And then like Omega will get her own little eye tattoo.
This might be a really good place to like start to close out, I guess, as we're looking forward to the rest of the season.
Brad's like, I gotta host this episode again. I gotta rein it in.
Gotta do what you gotta do. I respect it.
Do we have any bold predictions for the rest of this final season? I'll kind of go around here. You can each throw off an idea or two that you are thinking. Sarah, you look like you're ready to say something.
Well, I had a really silly one.
Okay. Let's hear it. Let's do it.
Unless I'm forgetting something from season 2, but like Tech is back and we get a smooch this season.
Of course we do.
With Fee?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we feed tech shippers, right?
Yeah.
Who else are we shipping him with? Say
Okay,
it. Like, there's no one else.
Perfect.
I think, you know what,
it.
with this show, you know, it's already doing whatever it wants to do. Why not put a little smooch in there?
Please.
That's my silly prediction. I don't know. My other prediction, feeling really bold. This is based on, I mean, literally nothing, but like, maybe we have Asajj and the Batch have to help each other in some way instead of just be enemies.
Like that. Molly, what are you thinking? What are you thinking for bold predictions?
I don't know about bold because like I don't have I mean I said some earlier, but I guess like to reiterate, Omega I don't think ends the story. I don't think she stays with them. I don't know where she's going, but I don't think she ends. I mean, I thought like everybody ends up happily on Pabu. Maybe hopefully that still happens and those stormtroopers are like, we actually really like the beach and we want to stay here. But I think Omega has another journey and just isn't going to, I mean, that's going to hurt because obviously I want her to stick with them. That's her family. I think that other than that's like my only prediction that I haven't seen anyone, I guess, talking about as much because the focus has definitely been on like Tech and Asajj and what's going on with, you know, Hemlock and Palps. So I definitely do think a lot of the fan theories, though, are going to end up being correct this time around.
Which I think can be a good thing, you know, because if it all leads to a place that we feel really good about as fans. So I'm excited about.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always okay with fans sort of drawing the lines and figuring out what the pieces are as long as like, because I think in the end, the execution is still fine, right? Because yeah, as long as the execution's good and everybody's having a good time, it's like, okay, this is what I thought. It happened. Awesome. I loved it, you know?
Right.
And I think you just got to also like level your expectations. Like don't get attached to too many theories, but you know, have your fun theories that you're going to maybe champion a little bit, but
smooch.
Kind of let the show go wherever it goes. My bold theory, and this is not something I necessarily like want to happen or like I'm like half and half on. If the Empire is throwing its full force at the Bad Batch to find Omega because they know her blood sample is what they need, who would Emperor Palpatine send to get that tracked down?
Tell us, Brad.
Darth Vader? I don't know. I don't know. Is Darth Vader going to appear in the Bad Batch? I don't know.
He's thinking about it though.
I don't know if it would necessarily be like a recurring thing. It could be like we have the coordinates of where we think they are. You know, they send Darth Vader and they barely escape him. Sort of dealio. That would be the
soonest we get Vader, right? Like on screen. That's the soonest we get him after
Siege of Mandalore, right? Oh, well, I guess we see him in like the very final shot of.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. I don't know. I had this like wild
surprise Vader
theory that like Vader is gonna kill the whole Bad Batch.
No,
at the end of the show. And I'm like, no,
actually edit that out.
Don't
even let the listeners hear that.
No,
only Omega escapes.
You are evil.
How generous of you.
Cruel for even thinking such a thing. How dare you?
Actually, no. Actual good bold prediction. Good bold prediction. No death. No tragedy. They become Fulcrum agents.
But that's
all the Bad Batch join the Fulcrum program. They join the rebellion. They become Fulcrum agents under Bail Organa, along with Cassian Andor and Ahsoka and all of those folks who are Fulcrum. Callus, they're all Fulcrum agents, and they're helping the rebellion. It makes sense. I would love that. I don't know if we would see that on screen necessarily, but that's just my bold prediction for the Bad Batch's future. Anyways,
we could put it in a book.
Case
I like
closed.
to read.
Yeah, I would read that.
Yeah,
I can't read, but I would read that.
I can't read, but I would learn.
Just for that.
I think that's the end of the road here for us on this episode. Molly, thank you so much for joining us on this journey for the first 3 episodes.
Thank you guys so much. That was so much fun. Time flew by. So good job, Brad, for keeping your eye on the clock there.
I certainly don't.
I joked we
I
could
was
go for
not.
3 hours, and we really could. So we try to keep a tight ship here.
And we have,
unless we're talking about
personally.
books, which that's why we don't have guests for books, because just
No.
can't do
Yeah.
3 hours. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But Molly, thank you so much. Where can our listeners find you online? What do you got going on coming up?
You can find me mostly on I have an Instagram. I don't know why I plug it, because I forget to post on there. So you can find me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Darth Mollie, spelled Darth and Maullie. And I have some fun artwork that I'm still working on, but I've had a lot going on, and I will be at Star Wars Night. So if you're going to be there on May 2nd, let me know. Come say hi.
Now, if I may take a moment before we sign off here to speak about the greatness of my Geonosis Battle Arena tote bag designed by Molly. I'm so serious. Please go buy yourself one. It has this beautiful print, and also the Geonosis battle creatures, the Nexu, the Reek, the Ackley, the loves of my life.
The
Sorry,
true
Nexu.
Star Wars trio.
and
The original trio.
seriously, I love her art. It is so cute and fun, and you should definitely check out her Etsy
Aw.
and go buy something like a cute Gunray pin. Okay, it's the greatest thing I own,
You're so
Facts.
sweet. You're both so supportive.
and I'm so
Like-
serious about it too. So
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we'll link that in the description of the episode, so go check that stuff out. I think I have the cute Gunray pin that you gave me at Celebration, and I think I gave one to Sarah. That's the one you have too, Sarah, right? I think you have
I've
one.
got
or-
one. I
Okay,
think
Yeah,
I,
I
got
think
the, I got the cute Gunray sticker, I think, from you one time, but I
Okay.
got the cute Gunray pin myself, unless I have two
Oh,
secretly
gotcha.
hiding
Okay.
around.
Nice.
Maybe.
Have to go
Nice.
dig through my bags of
That's okay.
celebration related materials.
He's very much a thing for, I feel like that's a lot of people get very excited at the convention, but then online it's maybe because that was such a huge part of my identity. Like the first year I was on Twitter, I just was all about Newt Gunray. I don't know. But I'm considering doing my cute Gunray cosplay again, so we'll see. But it makes me so happy. I unfortunately am very bad at selling my things and like to just hand them out to everybody. And nothing brings me more joy than seeing someone with like one of my keychains or something. So, thanks.
Well, thank you, Molly, for joining us, and thank you for all the wonderful art you put out into the world, especially
curse
the sacred trio and the
And
curse stuff.
especially the curse stuff, of
Yes,
course.
Yeah.
yes. If I don't see one smooth Bad Batch image this season,
I
I'm
got
going to
you.
delete this episode off our podcast feed.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go smooth right now.
So serious.
But for all of you who want to stick with us throughout the season of the Bad Batch, we're going to be covering all the episodes. I'm not sure in what frequency. Might be every 2, might be every couple. We'll kind of figure it out as we go and what happens throughout the season. But we'll be here till the end. So you can follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky, I think are the main ones at this point. And we're on pretty much any podcast platform of your choice. So make sure to leave a review if you enjoyed the episode, and give us a follow for all of the future episodes that are coming up.
We also have a Patreon where tiers start at just $1, and we're very grateful to all the patrons who help keep the lights on here at Friends of the Force. So thank you to AJ, Ben, Brian, Cheryl, Clay, David, Deborah, Emma, Jennifer, Katie, Knights of Friend, Leanne, Logan, Lucy, Lindsay, Matthew, Rob, Ruth, Saber Bouquet, Santa, Sky Talkers, Stephen, Tom, Travis, and our newest patron, Nicole. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who takes time out of their day to listen to this here podcast. We appreciate you. Please stay healthy and well and happy, and enjoy the sun as it hopefully comes out as spring begins.
Oh my gosh, spring is almost here, and so is the resurrection of tech. He is risen.
It's already happening here. We had sun and 80-degree weather today. It was horrible. Hated it. I like a Camino day.
If the Tech
Okay.
Lives episode happens the week of Easter, is Tech Jesus? We will find out in April. Thank you all for listening. And
Oh my
until
God.
then, may the force be with you always.
Bye.
Bye.